Oh man, what's up, y'all? Oh, we back. I missed y'all, man. Oh man, let's get straight to it. We're gonna have our guests coming on a little later, so we're gonna cook until then. Shout out to Second Wind Sports Media. Shout out to Rob Vegan, one of our sponsors, another sponsor, El Paso Route One, Charm by Shade. Let's just get straight to it, y'all. Did y'all see that BS news with Cinnamon? Matter of fact, before we get to Cinnamon, let's go and tip our hat to Clarissa because she got the knockout she been looking for and she deserved it. She packed the house and she showed out. And she has a movie coming out on her life, which is should do very well. Should do very well for young girls that's gonna watch that as a big inspiration to down the line. Should be coming out. I think they said this winter. I want to say so. Shout out to that, But let's just go ahead into what I was talking about on my stories yesterday. I'm just gonna switch to the stress ball. Why is Canelo fighting Edgar Berlanga? And don't come on here talking about he's the mandatory.
Oh
Y'all know
shit.
politics.
Here we go again.
Here go again. Exactly. Here we go again. We're pulling some nonsense. Now all of a sudden Edgar Berlanga, who don't even. All right, let me start off with everything good about Edgar. First of all, everybody's heard me say this for years. I could not like you. And this doesn't mean I don't like Edgar. Like I do like Edgar, always have. But I can not like you or not like the way you fight or whatever. But when it comes to you knowing what that 3 minutes feel like and you getting an opportunity, sometimes once in a lifetime opportunity to make, life changing money instead of not just because sometimes when these guys sign contracts, it's life changing money, but now it goes from life changing money to generational wealth money. It just in the blink of an eye. Go get your money, Edgar. Go get your money. Now that that's done and said, you fight Edgar Berlanga. You know Edgar ain't even got a jab. This boy don't even have a jab no more. This boy ain't had a jab since the amateurs. And I never forget when I watched him because I caught some slack talking about Edgar because he fought a brother to me in Damon and had nothing to do with Damon. I remember I said, damn, this boy, everything hard, everything he throw hard. But he's a poor man's Tommy Morrison. He's a poor man's Tommy Morrison. If you go back and watch tapes of Tommy Morrison and look at how, even when Tommy Morrison was 15, fighting grown men because of how his body was built. The tough man competitions and all that stuff where he was in Oklahoma and I want to say Oklahoma, Texas. He didn't go into Nebraska, I don't think, but like he was going up and down and fighting amateur fights and tough mans, back and forth. Tommy had a jab. Tommy had a hook off a jab. Tommy had bad intentions on every shot. Edgar is the same way, but Edgar, for some odd reason, I never forget when Dad started watching him. We started watching him, as he turned pro. And remember who he was from the amateurs when he was a kid. It was like he don't got a jab no more, and he getting enamored with these 1 round knockouts. And we knew when he signed the contract to fight Demond ain't getting knocked out in no first round. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. And as that fight progressed with Demond, and quiet as it's kept about what Damon was going through, shoot, 2 weeks out into the fight, going into that fight, it's like that fight was a 10 rounder. And Damon started to come around the way he was coming around, and he started basically making Edgar, kid, we gonna find out if you really want to be a pro type of fight. And he started landing flush right hands on Edgar as Edgar's coming forward. And I'm like, okay, because it took a little while for Damon to recover. And at that time, if he would have put his punches together a little better, he could have kept him more hurt instead of having Demar use his pro experience to get through, weather the storm a bit. That was a strike. Him not going back to the jet, that was a strike. It was like, okay, he enamored with knocking people out. And I never forget when my dad told me, he told me a story about, it wasn't Lennar Knight. It wasn't Leonard Knight. I forget the guy's name right now. Was it Raymond Carroll? I think Dad said the guy name was Raymond Carroll. I might be wrong. I gotta go back and ask Hardware. But Dad was like, he said about Ollie Dunlap, right? So he said about Ollie Dunlap, because Ollie Dunlap and Dave Jacobs were courting him and Uncle Melvin and all them at the time. And Uncle Marshall was gone at the time. So he's courting him and he says, watch this kid right here, don't blink. They're like, all right, go out there, over, 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 that quick. And that was like, man, this dude get hit. So back then, tournaments were done in one night. It's not like how the rules have changed today where you have to fight once a day. There is still a slight stipulation, depending on the brackets, where you might fight twice in one night, but it'll be like a long span. But it's not like back in the day where they would do a whole damn turn. You fight 4 times, and get when Dad was fighting and Sugar Wayne farming them, all them back in the day. Derek, Home Sweet Homes, all them guys, like Dad was in that era with them. And you fought sometimes 4 times, 3 times, one night, flat out. And Dad said he see them fight again. He fought I forget the guy that Dad said. He said, man, he was hitting whatever, and that man wouldn't go nowhere. He said he wouldn't fall. And Dad told me, he said, man, I don't care how hard you hit. I don't care what type of bricks you got in them gloves. Yes, this is a puncher sport, but you not knocking everybody out. And he persisted to name all these big punchers that he knew that he either introduced me to and I saw it up close or whatever. And he said, now look at their records. Somebody went to decision. Someone. You look at guys like Julian Jackson, John the Beast Mugabe, Carlos Monzon, who just punished you and broke you down. Gerald McClellan, Chico Corrales. No matter what, there's gonna be somebody. Hell, look at Bam Bam Reels. When Bam Bam Reels would get cracked, this Bam would sit there and smile at you, and I could kind of catch what he was saying in Spanish because sometimes you hear it, sometimes you don't. But he laughing, he's saying my wife hit harder, and so many other words. It's like, come on, bro. You're not knocking anybody out. And as you move up the ladder as a professional, you have to have other wrinkles in your game instead of you just being able to crack. It just don't work like that. And Edgar then beats the mom rightfully, moves on, and the fight that everybody has scrubbed this fight, don't talk about it, don't speak about it. It's literally a hush-hush thing. It was his next fight, and I missed. I remember I came home and rewatched it. He had on the white and pink. I forget this guy's name. This guy that he fought, literally nobody has heard or seen from this guy since that day. He fights Edgar, and he's outboxing Edgar. This was supposed to be a guy to get Edgar some rounds, but sooner or later he's gonna catch up to him, and then Edgar stops him, basically. And at this point, even if you go back 2-3 fights before that, you can see he started to get enamored with the power because when people saying he's a monster, I never hear my father say, man, don't take. Even Uncle Nestor would say, man, take that stuff tongue in cheek with these reporters and announcers, because some reporters and announcers are real cool and they really like you, but when they start hyping you up saying you a monster, oh my god, nobody's gonna stand. It's like wrestling. Boxing is like wrestling, but it's on the up and up. Basically, like there's not no fake. Because wrestlers take a lot of damage. So what I mean is like orchestrated. Like, okay, the punch is not real, but the slam is real. In boxing, the headbutt is real. This is real. Unless somebody done paid this fighter to take a dive, it ain't gonna work like that. So they have to hype the product up. And when Edgar was coming into ESPN, he had already, I think he was on over 10 fights of first round knockouts. Whatever fight it was when he got to the money, he was already shutting everybody out in the first round. Quick and easy. In and out. I mean, short nights. He was wasting outfits. Like, call it what it is. He was wasting outfits. And it was easy to see because people really watched him grow up and loved him that, oh, Top might jump on that. Like, oh, yeah, he gonna sell. And he does, which is another check mark. But when he put that dude out, when he hit him, they threw the slow motion, he hit the dude foot, and you see the blood splatter. And they always money. He jumped up on the turnbuckle. It was I remember this was a COVID fight. This was when COVID was going on. This was a COVID fight. And he jumps up on the turnbuckle. I'm a monster. Dre. Even he was like, it's so weird because I don't do that. Anybody older than me, I say Mister or something. But he talking to Dre like they the same Andre Wood, like they the same man. Dre. He's like, I'm coming. This how I'm coming. I'm here, and I'm like, bro, they putting the right guys in front of you. You doing what you're supposed to do. I never like Customato say. He says, not that you fight Dominicans, it's how you get rid of them. That's why one of the best come ups I ever seen was Mike S&D Reed because of the guys they were putting in front of him, and you could see how much better he was getting as a professional each fight, like no doubt each way. Then they put stiffer and stiffer guys in front of him that he was still supposed to beat, but still was giving them some go, and he just that run was something beautiful, man. All of them guys at that time, like you could see it. And you could see it was like instead of Edgar, because if I got a guy who punched like Edgar Berlinga, I'm teaching him every goddamn thing. Oh my god. If I gotta do like Edgar Berlinga who can hit you and make you regret signing a contract like that, what? Oh man, we ain't gotta do a lot. Edgar, we ain't gotta do a lot. You ain't gotta do. Don't worry about it. Look, I see you on Monday. As soon as he come in the gym, all right, we moving on. Now we in the top 15. All right, now we got to start not just shooting the jab here. I want you to shoot at the top of the head. If we can make his head go up and his eyes can't register to the brain, that damage is coming. By the time his head come back down here and that right hand coming, or that hook off the jab and then the brick coming, he gonna be out. And now I'm teaching you, I want 6 rounds straight lateral movement. 3 rounds moving in a circle and C pattern. The next 3 rounds, I want it in and out. In and out, pull, slide. I want it in and out. I don't need nothing big and fancy. Every now and then, I'm going to say pivot. I want you to pivot and go back to this corner. Each time you touch a corner, you pivot. Either way, you pick a corner. Pivot and go back this way. Pivot, go back that way. Pick a corner. And I'm watching you because I need to see when you pivot, if your feet going to be in the same spot I need them to be. And then I'm like, this day in camp, we're gonna work straight jabs. And I want the jabs at the collarbone, I want the jabs shooting at his hand, I want you pinning his hand. We're gonna do everything off the left hand. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Because your jab ain't that fast, but you got a powerful one. So we need to make sure that we get these guys immediately nervous at how commanding your jab is. Let's go. Because they already gonna be worrying about the power. And we need to make sure that whenever they come, that we don't get you too close on the back foot so these dudes don't get confident, that you just step to the side, reset, and right back on them. There's none of that with him. And then he fights the guy, and when they're after Damon, and he's in there, and this guy's outboxing him. And then he winds up hurting Edgar. Then he drops Edgar. Edgar was so mad at himself that he got caught with that. And I mean, he was hurt. And he's like hitting himself, like, come on, get it together. And it was like, okay. Then he said, okay, I got my team around me now. I added this, I added that. But it was too many voices in his ear. He sails out Madison Square Garden, which was such a beautiful walk-in because he came in, I think he came down the steps, which was the last person I seen do that was Dusty, like coming straight down the steps, so you touch everybody, which is dope, So he comes out and he's fighting Steve Rose. And Steve Rose don't want no parts of him. He there for the check. We all know what he there for. He coming in there, he's trying to stay away from him. And that's fine. But I'm watching it, and I'm like, he ain't tired because the fight ain't gone at no type of pace. This dude, he just wants to survive. And you can't step and cut this kid off. You're an amateur champ. You're an amateur champ. Like this boy, you don't win the tournaments that this kid has won or has been in and make it to the nationals that this kid has been at. And you can't cut off a ring, you can't buy, or you forget to cut off the ring. I was sitting there like, he's not. Steve Rose is right there. Right there, you can walk him either way and run him into an over or throwing in the leaping hook, cutting him off this way. Either way, whatever, pick it. Pick which way you want to get him. Pick it. And Edgar just could not just execute it for some reason. And then we move on from there. He gets a W. And then the fight, that was the big telltale. He moves to the zone. And he fights his next fight. Everyone in their mama had him knocking out this kid. Can you go on BoxRec real quick on Edgar's BoxRec and put in the chat for me the last kid he fought? It wasn't the knockout, it was a decision win. It wasn't his last fight, it was the fight before last. It was the kid from Ireland. I think the kid was from Ireland or England, and it's like he's a big ticket, so he's real well known in England and on those English cards. He could fight too. But everybody had him getting stopped. Like, oh man, he gonna get smashed off. Edgar's gonna catch him. He should have no problem catching up to him. And as the fight's going on, same problems all over again. He can't cut off the ring, can't find him. And then the boy started coming on, running him into stuff. Pow, and then you see him getting frustrated. You see Edgar getting frustrated again. And I'm like, Patrick McCrory. This kid, for the life of me, would not. He start getting touched. I'm like, oh, he's getting touched. I mean, he's getting touched. He's sitting there fighting this kid. And I'm like, you can't cut this ring off on this boy? And see that he walking you into stuff? Because you could tell the whole game plan was walk him into stuff and survive. Then he will finally catch up to this kid, and this kid will survive, get himself together, lock him up, throw his stuff back, and reset it. And I'm like, you just don't see the progression in Edgar that he should have with the skill set that I know he has, which makes no sense to me. Now, he gets to fight with Canelo. I'm eager and anxious to know, is Canelo going to carry him like he carried Munguia? Is he? Anyone? Because I don't think so. Is he going to carry him? I don't think he is. Because, yeah, it's Mexico versus Puerto Rico, but everybody saw that he was kind of like a big brother and kind of carried Munguia in that last, I want to say that last sequence when he hurt Jaime, he hurt Jamie and grabbed him and kept him upright, and Jamie being in top shape, snapped out of it, went back to work and got through the round. It's weird because you look at both and you just know, he's tailor made for Cinnamon. He might be, of course, he's gonna be bigger than Cinnamon, but he's tailor made for him. He's tailor made for him to tee off. My opinion, I think Jaime's a little bit better at putting his stuff together than Edgar, and there was some talks about them two fight, Edgar and Jaime, and that would have been a barn burner until somebody got caught. That would have been a pure tactical street fight until somebody got caught. So now, let's look at it this way. We talked about Edgar, now let's get to Cinnamon. You don't want to fight Bud. You don't want to fight David. So what is it? Oh, it's really F the fans, huh? Like, I gave y'all this, that, and the third. You called for, I remember he said, y'all called for Laura, I gave you that. You called for this person, I gave you that. You gave me. Let's be real here. He's right. But let's keep it all the way tall. You did not want to fight Triple G at that point. HBO made you do it. HBO made you fight him. Because they knew that was the fight to be made. That was the fight that was, all right, we got him coming out. We got it. And two, there was a lot of love that people had for Triple G. His backstory and everything. They wanted to see Triple G make that big payday. They wanted to see. They felt like he deserved it. And they knew they wasn't gonna have him for a long, long time. Everybody knew. Everyone knew. If you had enough common sense and decency to know, everyone knew we are not gonna have Triple G for long. So let's just enjoy him while he's here. So if you look at, I remember when Andre Ward went on Breakfast Club, and he said everything that I had said privately to someone else, and it was literally almost verbatim on how I said it. Said she fought Triple G because HBO had forced him to. Cool, we know that already. That's already been established. But let's go further down the depth chart of his box rec. If you look at his box rec, see, the thing about box rec is a beautiful thing. Because I could go back and look at so many great fighters from yesteryear and be like, man, and you see the crazy thing when you look at some of these old guys, it say newspaper win, newspaper draw, newspaper law. Because back then, some of the news writers were judges. So it'd be the New York Post, such and such writer says feels like he had it. Because they would do it by, instead of score, they would do it by, I had it 8-7 for him, or I had it 7-7-1, things like that. That's how it used to be at a certain point in time. So if you look at some fighters' box recs, and you just come across some guys with bad records, and you be like, oh, this motherfucker can fight. He just got thrown in too fast, too early. And you start to really dissect things and really look at boxers and know what you're looking at. And especially if you go and find the tape or the article about that said fight. That was how I learned more so about my dad and learned about Daryl Lattimore, like really more in depth about Daryl Lattimore and different fights and Uncle Nesto and all these different guys that had turned pro at that time. And when you go to Canelo's box rec, it's a who's who. It's a who's who, how you want it. But we all know I scored it for Austin Trout. He got that decision. I scored it for Israel Laura. He got that decision. And yet, and those were prime fights. These are prime fights. Floyd lost it straight up. Prime fight. Kind of lost that fight before it started because the contract stipulations. He took it. Biggest payday of his life. That's how the tricks are done. Cool. But then, as he ascended and Floyd gracefully bows out, and they put and Pacquiao gracefully takes a bow, he steps aside. Now you put this kid here. Once he got there was only one guy there for him, and that was Triple G. They made that fight happen. He gets hounded after the first fight because of how he fought. He goes in the second fight and fought beautiful. Everything you saw him do on the mitts, he did it in the second fight on Triple G, right there in the pocket, catching and slipping and everything. And you saw him break down and crying at the decision because he gave everything. That it was like, and if you really watch this, after that second Triple G fight, he has never fought at that. Oh yeah, he's 1, I'm 1A. We right here. I'm not too much above him. I'm not too much below it. No, we right here. He never took that type of fight ever again. I know people going to say Danny Jacobs, and Danny fought his ass off that night and did hella good. I know people are going to sit there and bring up other fights, but he fought Cotto. Cotto was on his way out. He fought Kovalev. Kovalev was older, already was beaten up and done by that point in time, and dealing with out of the ring issues and coming off the nonsense with Andre Ward and taking the beating with Andre Ward, and then he was done by that time. But it fell in perfect to the storyline for Cinnamon. So then you move on past that. None of the fights he's fought, it's always been this guy's on his way out. This guy's a champ, but he's older, been in so many wars. He only got a couple more fights left in him. This is his biggest payday. Boom, moving on that one. Each fight, no matter what. So now you have an opportunity. Let's just skip past David for a second, because we already know what that is. We already know. We've been through it on this page. We ain't got to do that right now. Let's just go to Bud for a second. You have a guy who started at 35. He wins 35, comes up to 40, goes to 47. We all know that this guy is naturally probably walks around much higher than that, and boils himself down to 47. He's fighting next week for the 54-pound belt. Now he says after, because he wants to ride this wave of beating Earl, he said, I want to fight. I want to fight Cinnamon. I love to fight Cinnamon. Cinnamon is, that's the show. Like, why wouldn't I want to fight him? That'd be everything. I fight him. So it's like, okay, let's make this happen. He said, I'll fight you at 60. Wasn't it Canelo who said, I'm fighting at 3 weight classes at once? Since then, he has not changed that. He has still said, like, 3 weight classes. But ironically, as soon as this kid says, man, I'll fight you at 60. Oh, no. It got to be 68. So you could try to, have a little extra on him and burn him out because you say 68 is the best for you. Okay, cool. You then, all of a sudden, I see something last week. I don't know how true it is. And saying, yeah, I still will fight Earl. I still will fight Terrence Crawford. And we all know that if it's Bud versus Canelo, it's going to make him way more money than him fighting Edgar. Now, I don't know if this is a plan. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a plan for Cinnamon to be like, all right, after I beat Edgar, I'll call him out. In a perfect world, we hope that. But hell, we was hoping in a lot of his last fights that he did all that mess to David after he beats Munguia. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Pointing at David. Knowing damn well he don't want to fight that boy. But I bet you he'll fight him now after his last performance at 75. I bet you it's a little bit more like enticing now, right? Maybe he'll move up to 75 since he looks so monstrous at 68, and he was a little bit, he was in it with a bigger guy, had to use more skills at 75. Oh, that's perfect for you, right? It's at a certain point, and I'm going to preface these comments. Gotta understand, fighting back-to-back wars are very dangerous for you. Really dangerous for your quality of career moving forward. Real dangerous for your quality of life after you retire. It is not safe. It is not smart at all. Just like how Andre Ward said. A lot of the guys back in the day, they didn't even do that. They ain't sit there and like try to do that too much. But the ones who did, sometimes they didn't want to do that. It was just the promoter they were with. Cough, cough. It was just the promoter that they were with that made them do it under certain circumstances. So that's just how it be. But some of these guys way back when were fighting fights that they hadn't even fully recovered from the last fight, and they getting in there with another killer when they actually deserve a little bit of a softer touch. Not a duck, but still keep them sharp. But you don't want to ruin them. You're gonna ruin the kid. And I saw that. I saw my fair share of that. I saw my fair share. But you don't do that to a guy. So I want to preface my comments when I'm saying about Cinnamon that you don't fight too many dangerous opponents back to back to back. It will. You might get the money, but you may not be able to enjoy it as well as you think you're going to enjoy it because of the damage you're going to take. Now, with saying that to Canelo and preferencing that way, let's also keep it all the way tall. He ain't had no real hard touch. Each touch that he's had has been basically a high level tune up. That's just call it what it is. Each fight has been a high level tune up for him. All right, cool. Got this guy. This is a good one. All right, cool. I'm gonna fight this guy. This is gonna look good on my record. So now, what's the next move? Because you should be on your way out the door soon. So you've been pro for 20 years. You've been pro since 15 years old. You're on your way out the door. I don't give a fuck what he say. You on your way out the door. You've been doing this. You've been doing this. You ain't have a lot of much of an amateur career, but you've been in the gym since you was a preteen, and then you turned pro. Basically, they groomed him to turn pro. They knew he wasn't gonna be no amateur, whatever. They knew it. So it was like, all right, because if you look at his amateur record, I think he only had 11 amateur fights. That was it. They basically groomed him to turn 15 and turn pro because he was a spectacle. They knew he was going to sell. And then his brothers, all older than him, they were already pros. So they were basically they were like the Russells down in Mexico. Like, if you know, you know that there will be cards, amateur cards, where the Russells are on it. Like, the Russells are on the card, and everybody's gonna show up. Way back in the day, oh, the Heyman brothers are on the card. Like, these are amateur cards, folks. Amateur. That's why like sometimes you get a little money in your pocket. Some of the gangsters betting outside of the ring, sit there and be like, betting on him. Get out the ring. It's like, hey, yo, shorty, come here. You come over there. They dap you up. You get some money in your pocket. Now, I had that happen to me off a spawn session. I go out as a kid, but there were amateur cards where you had guys that were brothers, or like the Leonard brothers and Hollins were brothers on this amateur card coming up. And then Brady Leonard and Uncle Melvin and Roger Kinney and Dad, they wouldn't even fight because the dudes would watch them shadow box and say, nah. Coach be like, nah, we not fighting them. I didn't believe that until someone else, Dave Jacobs, told me right before he came. Told us at a black banquet. Told us at a banquet. It was up in Greenville. So the Alvarez brothers were the same way. Same way. And some of the fights they would lose and they win. Like, these were pro cards. Like, and Canelo was the big draw because he was the big baby face, the youngest one, and he looked different. He always super, super pale skin. White skin with the freckles and the red hair. Oh, looks like a kid out in Nebraska. Oh, they ate that up. And Oscar was down there quick as hell to keep his eye on that kid and sign him. So if you do it and you basically, because sometimes I've seen guys keep a guy amateur for a year before turning, like he's basically turning pro, but he's gonna stay amateur this year. Like, this is his last year as an amateur, but that whole last year as you're an amateur, they're turning you into a professional with certain changes to your style. They have the whole time they changing you. So the thing that got me is that you would think, and I know Canelo's comfortable. I know he's comfortable. I'm not knocking that. But at the same time, don't lie to the fans and make it as if that you're this, you're the guy. You're the one who took the mantle from Chavez. But yet, when certain things are brought your way, you actually don't want no parts of it a little bit, and some of it was learned because of what you went through with Floyd. Because of how Floyd did you, and Floyd set up the contract, you're now playing that same game as you're going up because you want to make sure. Exactly. Show me the money. So now he wants to make sure that, okay, I'm going to preserve myself. And preserving yourself is fine. But at a certain point, you got to show up. Ray Leonard sat there and fought a lot of his. Now looking back on this fight, if you look at Ray Leonard's career, people thought he's been coddled. He's been coddled. The skids is grease for him. Yeah. But then you look back now on this boxer, you like, even Oscar, they thought Oscar, oh, he's pretty. Then they look at this boxer and they like, even Sweet Pea, they thought Sweet Pea was being coddled. Man, his pro debut was against a dude like 14-0. Like 14-0. Like, yeah, I'll fight him, sure, I'll fight him. So you have guys that you sit there, you have a fighter, and like with Ray Leonard, he still had to show up. He had tune-ups, but then he fights Benitez. He has tune-ups, then he fights Tommy. He has tune-ups, and then he goes to 54, takes a belt. He has a tune-up. He did those things. And the fact is that things got done. He still went in there, did his thing. So it just, you can't always do that. Certain things don't make sense. So, in my opinion, power to him, make your money, but don't BS people, bro. Don't BS like it's like you want to make it this thing. And I can't believe Ness. I love Big Brother Ness's show. I love the bottom, but we all know Ness will down talk you and interrupt you just to make his point seem more valid than yours, and just so he can't accept your point. That's just how he does things. He said on his page that, oh, he been surpassed Chavez. And it's a catch-22 to that statement. Surpassed him with weight classes and achievement. Yes, he did. He did surpass him with the money and with moving up more multiple weight classes. But at the same time, when it comes, Chavez was a different dude. The Lion of Culiacan was, oh, you want it? You want it too? All right, cool. All right, look, yeah, I can fight you. I'll fight you too. But I gotta defend my belt against him. Now, when I fight you, I can't. The commission not gonna allow the belt to be on the line. But if you want it, come get anybody. But that's how he want. Anybody want it. Step up. Let's get it done. Then Don send contract. Tune up. I don't care who calls me out. I want it.
And that's how he was. Facts.
Thank you. All right, and this, you can't sit there, like, you don't get to 80 something. Now, like I said, was some of his fights tune-ups? Yes, some of his fights were tune-ups. But the tune-ups would be guys who wanted that opportunity to step in there with him, and he'd be like, all right. That man would go off the camp, go into the mountains, get that liquor out of his system, and show up and then run you over, like over, and end you. And the next thing you know, of course, preference comments, partially it's because he was with Don King. Don King gonna keep you out there. He gonna keep you out there, bro. Especially back then. Wonder why some of them fighters were fighting so many fights back to back, and a lot of them was back to back 1-1-8 fights, wars. Man, oh, you gonna fight. Oh, you gonna fight. You gonna fight. You gonna fight who I tell you to. And those men back then were a little different here. Just a little bit here. Some of it wasn't warranted. Some of it they should have just, nah, you don't need that right now. But they coming from an era, I think back then, they coming from an era of trainers who teaching the Daryl Coleys versus the Overcars, and teaching all of these top guys, the Terrence Ali's and the Andrew Maynards and the Daryl Lattimores. List goes on, telling them, man, you take the fight. You don't know when you're gonna ever get that opportunity again. You don't know whenever you're gonna get that opportunity to fight like that. Look at the kid who just fought Teofimo. He got up on the stage, Tio was about to size him up, and he thought the dude was gonna size him up, and the dude comes up, wants to shake his hand first and say, thank you for this. I worked my whole life for this. I didn't think this was going to, happen. Thank you. He said, yeah. He was like, you could see Tio had to turn it off for a second just to be like, oh, he's not trying to like get me to let my guard down. He's dead ass. Like, and it had to make Tio remember that, oh, this is a sport where you got to get an opportunity sometimes. And he's like, it's all good. And you see Tio try to keep that edge, but he also was like, then you hear, man, it's all good. I know you deserve it. That's why I wanted to fight you. It's all good, man. Let's do this. And the right way. So you gotta think those guys that were on those Don King cars fighting those wars, they coming from trainers who didn't get a lot of pay, some of them didn't get opportunities. Some of them didn't. Like, man, you gotta always stay ready. Oh, still hear this from dad to this. They stay ready. You never know when you're gonna get that phone call. You never know when you're gonna get that opportunity to make that money. So you might only get it one time. Boom Boom Mancini father when he's I beat the number 5 contender, I beat the number 3 contender, beat the number 2 contender. So then I got offered to fight Alexis Arguello. Some people on my team like she's like Boom Boom like shoot, this is Alexis Arguello. Alexis Arguello had already 50, 60 fights by that time. You're like, am I ready for this yet? Because Alexis Arguello was known to pick it up as the fight went on. You're like, dang, I ain't been 15 like that yet. Am I ready for that? And his father, former fighter, Banger, the original Boom Boom Mancini, he said, man, yeah, you take it. Just to fight for the title, you never know when you'll ever get that opportunity again. You got to take it. And he took it. And he was better off for it, had a better Hall of Fame career, everything everybody knows. So now we're being taught from that same generation that was in those wars, and it's like half and half. It's like, man, you take the opportunity, man. You come to fight, you know how to fight, you fight. And you got other half saying, yeah, but whoa, now, like, make the money. Like, make sure you make the money. So Chavez, you can't sit there and say, like, he blows Chavez out the water. He skunked Chavez. Man, Chavez was taking it. Man, what, you want some too? What's up? Like, he walking in there like that. Like, what's up? You want some too? Yeah, all right, yeah, we can get it up. Oh, you want it too? All right, I gotta see him first though. Then after that, I'll see you too. Like that's how Chavez was. Like, yeah, oh, you look on his box rate. All right, defend title. Wait, he ain't defend his title right there. Because back then it would be fights where the champ, he coming in with his belts, all of that, but it's a 10 rounder. They're like, what the hell? I'm like, oh, they letting the sanction bodies do this fight and bring money to the city and whatever, but they still keep their belts. This is a tune-up for them, and they give this kid a shot across from there that's gonna, if he survives, it's gonna boost. If he doesn't get beat too bad, that's gonna boost his resume. Boost him. He's gonna come back stronger, more fans, everything else if he puts up a good showing. So that's how it was. You can't sit and Chavez did that his whole career. Even when he couldn't figure out 47. He just could not figure out that weight. That was just not his weight. He just could not figure that weight out. And no matter what, he still wanted it. Like, he wanted it. Oh yeah, you can do that. Like, yeah, okay, cool. And he went for it. You can't do nothing but tip your hat to a champ like that. Either way, Canelo's going to be a Hall of Famer. But we have to tell the truth here. If you're going to tell it right. You had guys after Triple G that were on your level, that were ready for you, wanted you, and you would have been better off fighting them 2-3 years prior, because now they're getting better. And you didn't do it. Look at Salvador Sanchez versus the way I look at David Benavidez fighting Canelo is Salvador Sanchez versus Azuma Nelson. Go look that fight up. Go look the box rec up. Azuma Nelson was this magician. They called him the professor. He was this magician from Ghana. This is what one of the one of the reporters wrote, right? The magician from Ghana, like, because of his boxing skills and everything. But guess who the champ was? Shit. You look over like, I ain't no bitch though. I ain't no bitch. I ain't gonna do this. This was coming in there with this. That's how Salvador Sanchez had an curly afro, about 2 times bigger than mine. Coming, if y'all look at my old pictures with me and Dusty, and how big my curly hair was, that was Salvador Sanchez coming that joint. That's how he walk in. Boy, never. That's how he smiles. Pure killer, straight monster. He, one of my dad's favorite fighters was Danny Little Red Lopez. He beat Danny Little Red Lopez the first time. Danny Little Red said, "We gotta run that back." He goes in there, beats him worse. These Little Red Lopez took it. He was part Indian, so he always used to come in with a chief hat on. So he was chief feather. So he took him off and gave it to Salvador. Grabbed Salvador's hand, walked him around the ring. Because this was the champ. This was the guy. Danny Little Red Lopez was the guy. Salvador knocks him off, and Danny Little Red Lopez takes his final bow, never to come back. And he's like, "I'm done." That was it for me. It's time for me to go. And then Salvador goes on a tear. And now you got this young kid coming up, very similar to David Benavidez, starching young, just making bad look bad, like bad. But you look this way. And once again, it's someone else won, just like David Benavidez. Man, I want it. I want the opportunity. Let's make the fight. Salvador like, okay. Hope this money helps your family. Like, all right, it's nice to meet you. All right, goes out there and Zuma did everything he could. Did everything he possibly could. Every trick he had. And he couldn't do nothing with Salvador Sanchez. Salvador Sanchez is a guy who's starching Wilfredo Gomez. I mean, he really put a licking on Wilfredo Gomez, and that was a mega fight. That was a mega, and then it was Mexico versus Puerto Rico. That was like, you could watch the tape of that fight and see, like, man, it's about to be a war up in here on both sides. Like, the fans, that was nuts. And he wanted, because going into that fight, Wilfredo Gomez, Bazooka, was named the Bazooka for a reason. He was like, I want to say 29-0 with 29 knockouts going into that fight, going into the Salvador Sanchez fight. And and I think Salvador was like 27-1 or something like that, or like 21-1, something like that. And it was just, he knocks Wilfredo off, hurt him too. And Wilfredo had to really come back from that. And now you got this kid coming up, and he took it. He winds up beating Azuma. The fight with Azuma Nelson, very similar to when Mario Barrios fought Tank. Like, if Mario Barrios had been in there with anyone else that night, Mario Barrios wins with ease. He had been in there with anybody else. It just had to be Tank. It was one of those fights when you see Azuma Nelson take it up a notch. Each round, each quarter of the rounds, he's taking it up a notch. He just didn't have enough experience for a killer like Salvador Sanchez. Never get what Tyson said. He was like, whoo, Salvador Sanchez. The better you are, the more he stepped it up. The better you are, the worse he fucks you up. That's how vicious Salvador Sanchez was. He bodied you. The work. If you bought it, the more you picked it up, he picked it up. He did it night after night after night after night, killer after killer after killer. He got in there with it. And I put that the same thing with David and Canelo. That should have been the story with him and David. But like I said, and I said it once, this be the last time he's saying it, he wasn't afraid to lose to David. He was afraid of how he may lose. That what if this kid bulldozes me? Like he bulldozing everybody else and everything that I've worked for since turning pro at 15 years old, everything I built gets shattered in less than 36 minutes.
Mommy, I'm scared.
That's a lot to deal with, because that when you fight a guy like David Benavidez, or you fight a guy like Sergey Kovalev in his prime, like Andre Ward alluded to, you fight guys like John the Beast Mugabe, Gerald McClellan, Michael Nunn, Chris Eubank, Michael Watson, Nigel Benn. Those are the conversations you have with your wife without the kids there before them contracts. Because you know what can happen that night. You know the piece of yourself you may not get back that night. That you may look the same to everyone else, but there's something there that only your wife or people close to you know that was left there that night, that you were never the same. Never the same. Even in the amateurs, I've seen wars in the amateurs and wars in the gym where a piece of that kid stayed there, where he's not the same no more, and it just happens like that. And I think honestly, he wasn't scared to fight him. He'd been in street fights before. I think he wasn't scared to fight David. But I think he dealt with the cartel kidnapping his brother and having to deal with that. So as much public news as that is, I don't know how much I released by saying that, but I don't think he was scared of David, but I think he was worrisome of how he may, if he were to lose, how bad is he going to look? How bad is it going to be? Because I don't need that. I don't need this. I don't need that right now. Like it's this. They'll. I always say this. I hate Rocky movies. I hate Creed movies. I can't stand them. Turns as cheesy as hell. The fight scenes, anyway, are cheesy as hell. But the stuff outside the ring, some of the acting outside the ring, is what fighters go through. You know, some of the stuff. And he said, like that scene in Rocky 2, when Carl Weathers, who plays Apollo Creed, sitting in his office. He got a beautiful 70s style office, and he said, man, what? He said, Apollo, we put a private investigator. Well, he said, man, we haven't found him. And he said, man, this guy has been in hiding for 6 months. Nobody's seen or heard from him in 6 months. That goes back to the thing I told y'all about. There are spies in boxing. Like, they go back to get paid, he taking it serious, or nah, this dude, he done, man, he calling, or nah, he ain't taking it serious, whatever. He said, man, nobody's seen or heard from him for 6 months. And he said, nah, we gotta get him out. I gotta see him. Apollo's really mad. I gotta see him. Nah, and you see his coach. He said, everybody out. Duke, stay in here. He said, what's your problem? What are you afraid of? He said, Paul, I'm going to skip past the first part because it doesn't have nothing to do with the Canelo David thing. But this part does. He says, Paulo, nobody's seen or heard from this guy in 6 months. We don't need this guy. And he said, look, but people calling me a coward. People saying the fight was fixed. People picking on my kids in school. And he said, I know what you're feeling, but let it go. We don't need him. We don't need that type of man in our life. That part hit me in the soul to this day. We don't need him. We don't need that type of problem. We don't need that kind of man in our life right now. Because he knows what it can do. It can ruin his fight. And I think Canelo's team knows that. So where does that put him? Taking on these type of fights. All right, I'll fight a high-level tune-up against Jaime Muguia. Oh, I'll fight this high-level tune-up, but slightly lower threat I just gotta worry about that brick. Cause you still gotta worry about that brick. Cause that can still be cracked. All right. Now I gotta make sure I'll fight Edgar. Yeah, I'll fight Edgar Berlinga because he could sell, right? Yeah, he has a big fight. He could sell. He could definitely sell. Oh, okay, cool. Now it's another a safe route, a safe way in, safe way out for him. And to me, that's just not good enough for me. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's like, and it's not that I matter, but it's just you just can't do that, bro. You can't do that. You can't do that to fans, man. Then walk around like you the big shit. It just don't work like that, man. It just don't work like that, But power to them. It's September 14th, so that means they already been in camp. Bodies are already halfway fine tuned because that's what 6 weeks away. 6 weeks around the corner. So it is what it is with that. So but let's move on from that. Clarissa showed the fuck up last night, didn't she?
Oh.
Sheesh. Oof. I knew that she was kind of like everything that you saw last night is what I was telling you about Devin Haney, about him boiling yourself down. You're kind of taking some of your power away. Because now she went up there to that weight class and cracked this girl, and this girl was hurt, and she kept her hurt, and she stayed hurt till she finished her. And it's like, I'm happy for Clarissa, man. If you know anything about Clarissa from the amateurs and stuff that she dealt with, I'm just happy for her that she getting that any little attention. Cause she was kind of like, I feel, in my opinion, a little bit of the ugly duckling coming through the amateurs to try, but she was you couldn't deny her because she was undeniable. You couldn't put her to the side just off her talent alone. And now look, she's the only one since 2004 with Andre Ward who's won a gold. She's the only one. We're literally right now looking at the Olympics, and shout out to Jamal Harvey to go do your thing, boy. That are we gonna get a silver? Are we not gonna get in? Like, are we not gonna get any type of gold in anything? Oh snap! Hey, G-Lo's back on. G-Lo's trying to get in. His name is Giancarlo Veras. So hopefully it should let him in. I'm gonna tell him now to open it up in Chrome, and that way it should let him in. Hopefully he'll be able to get in. We can finish the show together. Yeah, man, that'll be good for him to come. It's good to see him on, man. So now it's what's next for Clarissa? Who's gonna be the big money fight for her? Who? Don't say it. If anybody on here say Alicia Baumgartner, I will end this live. I will end this. Like, I will walk out on my producers and end this live. If anybody jumps in this train and say bomb, it is a wrap for this live. But that can't happen. One gotta lose weight, one gotta gain weight. Where's the medium gonna be? Bomb said she needed to be at 47. Clarissa, the lowest that she could boil down to is 54. Keep it tall. It ain't happening. All right, it's not gonna work like that. Scratch it. She's already beaten Savannah. That was the fight. That was the fight to end all and be all. Make the most money for her. Cool. Who else now? It's almost like slim pickings for her now. That I think it's slim pickings for her, especially because she literally just went up to where she can't no more and got a title. So now where else does she go? Cause I got her relinquishing that she ain't staying there. She she already said, man, I rushed her because that apple was big. Like she said she was big. She ain't gonna be hitting on me. Like you saw how quick that she rolled down. She rolled. Like you could see her pull and squat the rope. She squat that rope and went, oh no, you're like no, that weight, man. You see all that weight? I'm telling y'all, if y'all ain't never experienced it, the only way y'all can experience what I'm talking about is if you play football and you see a dude bigger than you coming across to hit you. That's the only way I can maybe make y'all understand it. Or because I can't say a pick in basketball, you focus because and then a guy that's super that powerful the sentences that hit you with a pick. It still don't equate to looking across and seeing this dude all of us like, oh, that's a big guy. I should get tell. I should like it's like, God, those and you can see on her face, you can see as the fight out, like you see Carissa, like her confidence was on. But it's like, oh, that's a big woman. Okay, I gotta handle this quickly. Like, and everything worked out because that brick landed. Because Lord knows if that brick ain't land, it's like, I gotta box this girl for another certain amount of rounds. I gotta box her for another 8 rounds. Dang, man, that means that some of these rounds, you're gonna touch these shoulders. My shoulders gonna be sore as hell tomorrow. So that's just how it be. So it's basically for y'all, it's gonna be a real big thing of a Delta because it's been a lot of stuff with Carissa where they try to, kind of push it to the side. Even in the pros, push it to the side. It's like, oh, all right, they ain't trying to give her the play that I feel she should have way more play than what she does. Even though she's getting a good amount of attention, in my personal opinion, she deserves more. I disagree with some things that she do, like the woke thing, messing with Amanda or saying something like, man, Amanda ain't meaning no harm. Her team ain't meaning no harm. But we all know, like y'all two are the queens of this, like right now. That these y'all two are who the girls putting booming, but like right there. Of course, but if we just gonna put, you got y'all are the ones. Period. Then you got the other ones, that's coming right behind y'all or right below y'all that are like Katie Taylor, 1A, Savannah Marshall, 1A. Those women are going to be Hall of Famers just like y'all. At the end of the day, no matter what, y'all all going to go into the same Hall of Fame. So I just don't want Carissa wasting her mind and time on it. For what? Why waste it? Why waste your energy? For what? It ain't no point into. For what? Everybody know who you is. Everybody know what you about and what you do and what you capable of. Leave that to leave that to the fans to make their own decision, personal liking decision. Leave it be. And you ain't gotta entertain that for what. But now it's less options for her. Now it's like, okay, now we have to build an opponent instead of just picking an opponent. And now that's gonna be the big thing. And I'm not sure how that's gonna go for her. I'm really not sure how is that gonna go. Is it gonna be enough for her to sustain? Like there's always gonna be a fight for her because some fans gonna show up for her no matter what. But guess oh yeah. So now it's just a tale of what's next. What's next for her? I personally don't think, right now just rest on your laurels, rest on your, you just had a can make some money. Don't worry about that mess. For what? Why worry about it? You worry about it when it's time. Cross that bridge when you get to it. Right now, rest your body and enjoy your spoils. Now, going into the Olympics, I got asked a question from my boy. Shout out to my boy Sammy, man. It was said, um, we was talking about. I think I mentioned to him that Jamal fighting in the Olympics and different people is like asking me, hey man, is the Olympics still what it is? Like, is the Olympics still like when my dad was fighting where you had to get a medal? If you didn't get a medal back when my dad was fighting, you was starting off fighting $500, fighting for $50 like Marvin Hagler. And the way back then you sustained it was you signed a contract immediately with a trainer or manager back in the day. And the way that it worked was they would take care of you. That trainer, whatever, they would keep money in your pocket, pay you, and take care of everything, which still goes on to, mostly today. But back then, it wasn't like now. Because back then, back then you were getting $50 a fight. Hell, in the 90s, you was getting 500. So, and it's like, I would never downplay the Olympics. The Olympics still the Olympics. Gold medal, you can always, when you got a gold medal, you are set for life. There's still a lot of people who believe that you're set for life. When you get a gold medal, so Olympic medal, period, guess what? You can always go to a banquet and talk. You can always be a motivational speaker. You can always be at the USA complex, sports complex, and coach. You can always be there, no matter what, because you have this. Or hell, Pan Am's, you win that. Any of those things, but the end all and be all for sure is definitely if you win that Olympic, nah. Oh my goodness. And it's like when you do that, it's basically a shoe-in. I mean, look at Howard Davis. Some people feel like Howard Davis, his career didn't go to stratosphere that it was supposed to, right? But guess what? He's still outstanding boxer. Still won a world-class gold medal, world-class fighter at the amateur level. He will still always be fine to where he could always help coach. He could always, somehow, some way, be fine because of that gold medal around his neck. Ray Leonard, you still mention him at Roy Jones. You still mention till this day that he's practically a gold medalist, no matter what. Do I like that now these days with medals? How I put it? I like that either way the promoters go to these tournaments and watch you and want you. That it's like, okay, I may not get 100,000, but I'll get 40,000 when I sign. That you can look at it that way. Just throwing a number out there. But at the same time, you don't want it to downplay winning like the '84 team. You win the Olympics, and then it's the night of gold, and y'all come out with the gold trunks. Y'all go out there, do y'all thing, and y'all all set for life before y'all even step foot in the ring for your pro debut. Y'all was already set for life, and I would like to see amateur boxing slightly go back to that a little more. But I will say this. I remember one time I left a comment and Clarissa liked it. I said, y'all better thank Clarissa that she turned pro. I said, because when you an amateur, you gotta think. When boxing, the first thing people think of is either Russia, USA, or Cuba. When it's shoe-ins. Shoe-ins. People think that automatically. Slightly it's changed over the past few years. Better people have gotten better. But when you're an amateur, Bud even said, he said, I was making more money as an amateur from the amateur to pro program, sending him money than he did when he chose to turn pro and the money he was getting in. That's straight up what he said. Like, he said, man, I was getting more money then. And when you're an amateur, you're taken care of. You go to VAC, they do everything. They tell, you showed messed up, we got you. This messed up, we got you. That's messed up, we got you. This messed up, we got you. Don't worry about it. You fight for the country, you straight. Once you turn pro, altogether different, buddy. Altogether different. Once you turn pro, you paying. Now you gotta pay. Paying everything now. Now everything you basically go from making sure even God, I forget the guy's name. He was a bronze medalist for England. And now he's done well for himself. And he has a big Instagram page. He said the exact same thing. He said, when I was fighting for Britain, I had free clothes, I had free shoes, free this, get this, I ate this, that, and the third. When you turn pro, everything is off of that money you get from that promoter. All your endorsements, sponsorships. You're now basically gonna your money goes to everything now. The stuff that they did to make sure you was in peak physical form when you was on the USA team or on the England Great Britain team and all that stuff. Nah, it don't work that way now. It's not the same. So people gotta look at things. People gotta understand that it's a catch-22 to both sides with pro and amateur. It's a catch-22 there, and you gotta make sure that you know what you're looking at when you look at some of these fighters and say certain words that I've seen people say about fighters being amateur and pro. Don't work like that, man. It don't work like that. You gotta make sure that you really know how it is. Like I remember, hearing Dad tell me stories about Ray coming home with the gold and how people looked at him and how people looked at Oscar. Look at Oscar's document when he came home. And his sister was like, why are these people all over my brother? And, and he had just used another kid from East LA who had won a gold because 4 years prior, another guy that he grew up in the gym with won a gold from East LA. So it's no matter what, at the end of the day, that gold medal, man, I can't knock it. You get any medal. That puts you that could sit there and set you up for a certain level in life, no matter what, in my opinion, if you work it the right way. Because there's no way that you can't somehow, some way end up being able to go to USA Olympic Plaza and somehow, some way, because of that stature and your picture somewhere on that wall in there, have some job there or have a speaking engagement somewhere. So, but I was looking at the money. Did y'all see the money? I think it was, I forget which country. I know that here they giving you 37.5 for gold, 27.5 for silver, and I think 15.5, 15.7 for bronze. Norway not paying you. China, Taiwan, they giving you 300,000, 200,000, 100,000. Kazakhstan giving you a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom. That's crazy. I'm like, hold up, wait. I didn't know that only the country pays you. I thought like the Olympic Committee or something like that. No, your country that you went for pays you. I didn't know that. I did not know that. So they said that they pay you for that Olympic medal that you win, and none of it is the same as another country. You might get 5 figures, mid 5 figures. And another country get mid 6 figures if they medal. I'm a little stuck. Like, I never knew that, and I never. Kazakhstan, if you want to go, you get a 3-bedroom. Silver, you get a 2, and bronze, you get a 1. What the? Because my whole life growing up, I swore, because how my dad talked about the Olympics and his friends winning gold medals and stuff like that. I always looked at it as, oh, so when you win a gold, you get like $1 million, or you get $500,000, or you get $100,000. Like that's just where my mind went to. Like, oh, you get that, and you just turn pro, and that's because I know somebody are probably laughing at me, but that's where my mind went. I'm like, so I'm a little shocked that it's only your country that pays you, and it could not be on the same it could end up not being on the same regulations as another country. That's crazy. That's wild. I'll be damned, but anybody fighting for Taiwan, get your paper. 300,000? 300,000? Oh my goodness, get your money. Get your money. But Jamal Harvey, man, I wish that kid all the luck, man. I had the pleasure of calling one of his fights at the DC Armory, which is a big deal for me because my dad fought there, and I'm getting goosebumps. Yes, they announcing me to walk in there to do the announcing. They hooking me up and stuff. I'm like, did my dad step in this spot? Did my dad step in that spot? I swear, like straight daddy's boy, man. I swear. So I'm like, man, my dad walk out of there or out of that end? That end or that end? Like that's why whenever I'm talking Uncle Sheedy, break on my dad, I'm like, tell me everything. Like tell me everything. So um man, yeah, so it was crazy because Jamal was in there and he roughed the kid up. The kid didn't even want to fight no more. He was beating the kid, but the kid didn't want to be there. That kid came. He was the kid didn't want to be there. He really didn't though, Uncle G. He didn't. He didn't want to be there. He really did not want to be there. Like the fight literally was a mercy stoppage. It was basically a flat out mercy stoppage. That's all it was. And I could not for the life of me understand that because it was a showcase for him. The kid came in with a USA outfit on, and Maul wore his own special outfit, and it was a big deal. And the place was it had some. It was pretty packed for that. Like it was pretty packed for him, and I just I announced him. He came out, I interviewed him, and then we chit chatted. Then he wound up coming to the studio when I was Pacific Counter. When we talked to him then, we talked to him 2 times. He was the first guest that we had because he was, I forget where he was. I'm not sure if he was home getting ready to leave. I don't remember if he was home getting ready to leave or he was already gone. But we had him, we were talking to him through our side panel. We had a side panel thing and we was talking to him through there. Then as soon as he came home, Coach D brought him straight to us. Like he came straight to the studio and was like, yo, I'm gonna do the interview. And I was a little stuck, like he right in front of me because I'm like, man, this boy been ripping and running. This boy been ripping and running. I mean, he was gone, getting medals, gone. And he sat across, now he's sitting across from us and we're talking. And me and him already have a relationship because Coach D coming down, sparring my dad's guys, and they love talking trash, so it was always cool sparring them. Then going back and having to talk to him now, he's like, and because I remember we talked off the air for like a short period of time after the Armory amateur fight with the Mercy Stoppage thing. And we was talking, and I didn't think he knew who I was at all. He knew who I was and everything. Dapped him up. It's all good. After that, boom, and it's like now to see him where he is, I honestly, in my whole heart, really truly believe he has a shot. Not just that, I truly honestly believe that if he pulls this off, and when he could pull this off, he can end up being, when's the last guy who from here who won a medal? It was Andrew Maynard, I believe. Andrew Maynard was the last one. If I'm not mistaken, Gary and Allen were the last Olympic and Olympic alternates to leave from here, if I remember right. And Andrew Maynard was the last one to win a medal, let alone gold. So if he does this with this city, with this metropolitan area clamoring for a champ, we already got Lamont. And the city is still electric right now for what Lamont did. But we haven't had an amateur kid. He was all over the news. He got a lot of he got big love off of that. Like he did, off of that. He was on the news, and you know, I was so happy for him. But I feel like he could be the next Ray Leonard in a sense. Like it was different when Ray won it, and I don't think that would ever be surpassed. But damn it, that boy can make it really close to that. If he brings that home, I think he'll shut the city down. He'll make people really, really clamor to him and put him on a way higher stratosphere and going into transition into professional. Like, cause I can honestly see him bringing out people when he turns, just like I remember when Tank was having his last amateur fight, all the people showed up. And then when he had his, anytime he fought here at home, people showed up. It would be the exact same thing with Jamal Hardy. And so many people watch that boy grow up, and I think he'll shut the city down, coming back home and having a parade for him, bringing it home. I could really see that for him, so. But I'm done yapping, y'all. I'm done yapping for the night. I'm tired, and I'm sorry again, y'all. I will not be on next week. I have some business to go take care of and handle. I will be trying to do as many stories as I can while I'm out of town handling, business. But I will be right back on the week after that. And, as always, Raw Vegan, John Bache, El Paso Route 1. I thank you guys. Blueprint, Blue Team Blueprint, following and showing so much love. Big Roy, showing so much love. The Little Johns, Uncle Dirt, Uncle C's, Uncle She, Uncle Nesto, Trey, Uncle Irv, Metro, Chaz, Franchise. Oh y'all, man, Hillcrest Bloodline, stand up, man. I hope I made y'all proud, man. But I'll be back on here bringing it as always. And then hopefully we'll have Giancarlo on next time. If not, you never know who I might have. You never know, but I'm welcome to having anybody on. Anybody who got some sense and want to talk some good boxing, bring your tail on here. It's all love, man. But I'm going to make sure I got some good reviews about doing this, and everybody's saying, like, man, I've been bringing it, and that means a lot to me. That means I'm not, making everybody proud, and I'm gonna keep bringing it. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna have y'all show up. So till next time, y'all.
The Second Wind Sports Media and DMV Boxing Legend would like to introduce to you our new sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, El Paso Mexican Restaurant, located at 6151 Richmond Highway, Alexandria, Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, we have El Paso Mexican Restaurant. Also, if you're looking to pregame every fight night, amateur or pros, come out to El Paso Restaurant. They will guarantee you a discount. All you have to do is say that DMV Boxing Legend and the Second Wind Sports Media sent you, you will get a discount.